Here is the world news from BGI TV, Babagide Imo TV. I am Morire Rebila Lawal. First are the major headlines for the world news. 720 billion naira loan plan, FG insensitive, borrowing to finance selfish agenda. Senate removes MPA, Nemasa, NAFDAC, 7 others from budgets. FG versus ASO, lawyers fail to reach out of court settlements. Professor Ayodeji, Olayinka Johnson, Agbola becomes new OAUVC. Still on the world news, we bring to you again, terrorists free kidnapped Nigerian divisional police officer. Oyo JTF officers shoots farmer, community laments. And to our foreign story, Nigeria, Saudi Arabia signed security trade acts. And on sports, Super Eagles drop in latest FIFA ranking. Second sports story, Ballon d'Or 2022, Sadio Mane names player to win award. The news in detail. Despite grappling to pay the existing 41.60 trillion naira debt, the Debt Management Office, DMO, has released the federal government of Nigeria FGN bonds issuance calendar for the fourth quarter of 2022, which contains a 720 billion naira borrowing plan for the period. Reacting to the development in an exclusive chat with Daily Post on Wednesday, an economic analyst and professor of management and accounting, Leeds City University, Ibadan, Godwin Oyedeji, said the federal government was insensitive and was borrowing to finance selfish agenda. He noted that there is little or no equivalent infrastructural development on ground to show for the loans Nigeria has been borrowing. He lamented that most infrastructural project loans are mere economic extortion because it is way expensive compared to the costs elsewhere. According to him, it is insensitive on the part of the government to be borrowing at this stage. They are borrowing for the next generation to pay because this administration has less than 9 months left. He noted that borrowing for infrastructural development is not bad. But over the years, nothing has been achieved with the funds borrowed. Rather, the government is borrowing to finance the internal and personal pockets of some people. Recall that a month ago, the Director General DMO, Mrs. Patience Onia, revealed that Nigeria's total debt profile as at March 2022 stood at 41.60 trillion naira. Moving on to the next story. The Senate has approved the removal of government-owned enterprise from the 2023 national budget. The affected agencies are Nigerian Port Authority, Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, National Agency for Food and Drugs Administration and Control, Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, and Nigeria Customs Service. Others are Corporate Affairs Commission, Federal Inland Revenue Service, Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, and Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission. The decision of the Senate was sequel to the report of the MTEF/FSP submitted by the Senate Committee on Finance, chaired by Senator Adeola Olamilekon, which was considered on Wednesday. According to report, that's 10 out of its 63 GOEs be placed on cost of collection to serve as a test case for other GOEs, which can be added to the future. The list of these GOEs include NCC, CAA, MPA, NEMASA, NUPRC, FIRS, Customs, NMPDRA, JAM, NAFDAC. With immediate effect, the proposed Finance Bill 2023 coming up with the amendment of the existing act of the above-mentioned agencies. And moving to the next story as regards FG/ASO. Lawyers for the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, on Thursday could not resolve the 8-month-old strike despite out-of-court settlement as advised by the appellate court. The lawyers James Igwe San and Femi Falana San told the Court of Appeal that despite the admonition, they could solve the dispute. Presiding Justice Amar Bakar thereafter stepped down the matter for an hour to enable the counsel to ASU, Femi Falana, to file a reply to the counter affidavit deposited by the federal government in opposition in the hearing of the appeal. At the resumption of the hearing, Falana said they had begun consultations which would continue at the end of the day's proceedings. He suggested that their application challenging the ruling of the Industrial Court be heard by the three-man panel of the Appeal Court. Both parties agreed that the court should hear the application as there was no amicable resolution reached as advised by the court.
Universities over the 8-month-long strike by university teachers. Shortly after the meeting with the president, the speaker told reporters President Buhari has promised to look into the recommendations and hopes it will resolve the dispute between ASU and the federal government. He said the president accepted the report and asked for some days to consider the recommendations before he makes a decision on the matter.
We're done with our meetings with ASU. We've made our report and we've done our recommendations. All that is left now as we speak is for us to come back here on Thursday, maybe Friday, I don't know, in the next couple of days for Mr. President. He wanted to digest the report in detail, and we won't know anything until Thursday or Friday.
Still on the world news, Professor Ayodeji Olayinka Johnson Agbola becomes the new OOU VC. Professor Ayodeji Olayinka Johnson Agbola has been announced as the new Vice Chancellor of Olabisi Onabanjo University, Agowe, Ogun State. Professor Agbola, who is currently the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic of the university, holds a Bachelor of Medicine and Surgery of the Ogun State University, now Olabisi Onabanjo University, a master's degree in oncology and a doctorate degree in molecular pathology, both of the University of Nottingham, United Kingdom. He was employed as a lecturer, second in the Department of Mobile Anatomy and Histopathology after a mandatory year of housemanship. Thereafter, he rose to the position of a professor in the year 2016 after passing through the ranks in the university. He has served in various committees of Senate, Joint Committee of Senate and Council of the university. He has equally served as a Director of Linkages, Research and Advancement and Head of Department, Mobile Anatomy and Histopathology. He was the immediate past chairman of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, and Secretary, Nigerian Medical Association, Ogun State Chapter. Moving on to the next story from kidnapping story. A chief superintendent of police and divisional police officer of Briningwari Police Division in Kaduna State, Sani Muhammad has been released 3 months after he was kidnapped. His release comes a day after the 23 remaining trained hostages were released on Wednesday. It followed a sophisticated intelligence coordinated operation led by the Joint Security Service, PRN Nigeria report. Gyari has been taken to a health facility in Kaduna State for a medical checkup. He is stable, but doctors are monitoring his health condition. A close relative of Gyari, a chief superintendent of police, CSP, told PR Nigeria. An intelligence source told PR Nigeria that all efforts towards securing the freedom of the officer had been finalized on Wednesday, I beg your pardon. While I would like to preempt the ongoing processes, any moment from now, the police officer will be free from the captivity, the source was quoted as saying. The family of the police officer had appealed to Nigerian government to help secure his release from captivity. In June, Gyari was kidnapped along the Briningwari Road while he was on his way to report as a new DPO in a division in Kaduna State. PR Nigeria gathered that the terrorists who abducted him initially demanded a money of 250 million naira from his family before reducing it to 80 million naira. From Kaduna State, we go to Oyo State. The Adoawaye town in the Ishenyi local government area of Oyo State has decried the excesses of men of the Oyo Joint Security Tax Force, aka Operation Burst. The tax force is a team of operatives of the Nigerian Army and Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps established to improve security in the state. Our correspondent gathered that a farmer, Semil Rohim, was returning from an event on Monday when he was shot at the Lakatabu Junction at Adoawaye, where the tax force had a checkpoint. Residents who spoke on condition of anonymity for security reasons said the operatives were fond of extorting money from commuters, especially at night, when farmers and businessmen were returning to their homes. An eyewitness said the government said they are there for security purposes, but they always collect money from motorists that don't have number plates. They collect between 1,000 naira and 2,000 naira. When it is night, they collect between 2,000 and 500 naira, whether they have plate number or not. Our correspondent gathered that motorcycles were not allowed to pass through the checkpoints unless their riders dragged them off foot. Moving on to the next story as regards the foreign story on the world news from BGI TV. Nigeria and Saudi Arabia have signed 2 memorandum of understanding (MOUs) to boost trade and investment as well as strengthen cooperation in the areas of security. Both countries signed the pact on Wednesday at the close day of the 2-day session of the Nigeria-Saudi Arabia Joint Commission in Abuja. Zubairu Dada, the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, signed the agreement on behalf of Nigeria, and Ahmed Al-Kamashi, Deputy Minister of Environment, Water and Agriculture, signed for Saudi Arabia. Mr. Dada said the agreement were a culmination of the brainstorming session by experts and officials who engaged in intensive negotiations on several draft agreements and MOUs presented by the 2 countries dealing with various aspects of Nigeria-Saudi cooperation. He explained that the draft covered 3 broad working groups: education, culture, youth, sports, defense, security, drugs, human trafficking, economy, trade and investment, Hajj and labor, among others. And to the concluding part of the world news this hour is from the sports. Nigeria Super Eagles dropped 2 places in the latest men's ranking released by the Federation of International Football Association, FIFA, on Thursday. The latest ranking was published on FIFA's official website. The West Africans are now ranked 32nd in the world. The Super Eagles fell to a 2-1 defeat to Desert Forces of Algeria in their only game in September. Joseph Pesero's side, however, maintained their number 4 position in Africa. The Harenga Lions of Senegal, Atlas Lions of Morocco, and Carthage Eagles of Tunisia are the 3 teams ahead of Nigeria in the ranking. 2-time African champions Algeria completed the top 5 teams on the continent. The Super Eagles' next game is a friendly against Portugal in Lisbon on November 17. The next FIFA Coca-Cola World Ranking will be published on 22nd December 2022. That concludes the world news from BGI TV. Before we go, some major headlines. 720 billion naira loan plan, FG insensitive, borrowing to finance selfish agenda. We also brought to you, Senate removes NPA, NEMASA, NAFDAC, 7 orders from budgets. FG versus ASU, lawyers fail to reach out of court settlements. And finally, on sport, Super Eagles drops in latest FIFA ranking. For more updates on YouTube, our handle is Bagede Imo TV. Kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell. Select option all to access our broadcast. On Facebook, Bagede Imo with Alawuye Adebayo. Please like and follow the page. On Instagram, Bagede Imo _22. For advert placement of your goods and services, coverage of events and function, please dial the phone number streaming on your screen for advert placement only. Thank you for watching. I am Morire Rabila Lawal. Good evening.
Oh, na, na, na. If you want to know what's going on in city, or you want to listen to the latest news and gist, no stress, oh, just tune to BGI TV. BGI TV, you're one in a million.